This is the Sunday stream opening song because the other song is copyrighted. La 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 la. Oh look, here comes Dog Cat Fox.
Hi, Sky.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday stream. The stream I do on Sundays because Sunday is the day to stream on Sundays. Hope you're all doing well on this beautiful Sunday morning. It's kind of nice out. Sun's still rising, a little cloudy in the sky. Should be comfortable, I hope. Hope everyone's having a good day so far. Waking up with your morning cocoa, which has been infused with AI, as we know, from TED Excellence. I started reading. Who reads books anymore, right? No, I got an audiobook because it's more entertaining sometimes. The follow-up, effectively, to the book about the Clinton campaign back in 2016. It was called Shattered. Amazing book. It's an amazing book. Amazing insight and insider information about the Clinton campaign. It's Schadenfreude in print. If you ever want to just see the inner workings of how that all fell apart. Well, the sequel, as far as I'm concerned, just came out recently. Called Fight, by the same authors, covering the Biden/Harris campaign of 2024. And I'm only a couple chapters into it so far, but man, again, Schadenfreude in print. When you hear all of the inside scoop of what was going on and the self-delusions within the Democratic Party and the Biden camp, and just how much of a mess it was. I mean, you could only guess as much if you're just following the news back when the campaign was going on. But holy cow. And the access these guys have to inside sources to get unfiltered opinions on things. It just, it kind of demystifies the idea that anybody really knows what they're doing. And the spin machines, not only to the public, but within themselves. And I know it's not exclusive to the Democratic Party, but boy, oh boy. It just tells you just how on a razor's edge everything is operating most of the times as compared to the spin machines. Anyway, highly recommend it. Very interesting stuff, very informative. But aside from me plugging a product that I'm not actually getting any, sponsorship for or something, just something I'm reading that I like or listening to. Who's joining me on this beautiful Monday morning? I was listening to it while I was doing some work this morning to try to keep myself occupied because I had to get a bunch of work done for Monday morning tomorrow. And so it's just on my mind. It's just amazing. Anyway, the Alexander, good morning. Walter Tomaszewski, good morning. My cats, George and Philip, excitedly await the sorority of your dulcet tones, scribe. Oh, so sorry, sonority of your dulcet tone, scribe. They also say hi to Dogcat Fox. Oh, Dogcat Fox, you have some fans now in 1/3 of your genetic makeup, cats. How do you feel about that?
Wowie, wow, wow.
Yeah, he's very excited. As you can tell, he's very excited. Good morning, Walter. Old Guy Gamer, good morning. Would you look at the time? I know. Darren Root, good morning. I'm going to be honest here. The live action Tangled getting canned is probably the only good thing that has happened from Snow White. Yeah, we'll talk about that. It's an item I put on here. It's something we'd probably talk about on Midnight's Edge anyway, but I just found it interesting. So we'll go over it real quick. Snortapoopus Cuber, good morning. Who else is here? Keeverdam, good morning, and thank you, Keeverdam, as always, for providing the link to the Give Send Go for Chad's family. Guys, a friend of lamented guide, Chad and his family are losing their home soon, and they need some support to avoid becoming homeless. So if you can take a look at that link at the top of the chat box. If you're able to donate, please do so, but even if you can't, if you can share that out on social media, that would be appreciated. And elsewise, thank you, Keeverdam, for providing the link, and good morning to you as well. Advocatus Diaboli, good morning. Who else is here? I turned the music down a bit. I had it a bit loud. Thought I had it lower. Stevie J, good morning. Plague Trucker Zach, good morning to you. TF for Yorks, good morning. Kiro Soldier, hello. Corey Suzuki, Scribbles, Corey. K Shoal, good morning. And Kristen Scholl's also over on the X Machine. I am simulcasting over there, guys, so if you see the stream over on the X Machine, please retweet or re-X or whatever it's called these days. Appreciate that as well. Blue-Eyed Scream, good morning. Zan Wild, hello. Shadowclaw, good morning. The Best Remy, good morning. Full Metal Joker, good morning to you. JB, hello. Playing some Schedule while listening. Game is super good. Schedule. I'm not familiar with Schedule. Is it on your schedule? Okay. 1 Ton Hammer. Good morning. Anybody else before I move on here? Some Namdul Nation. Good morning. Boy, oh boy, look at all you people. All you strange and weird and wonderful people. Anybody else? John Trioxon, good morning. Robert Pincus, hello. 01 Portnoy, good morning. Captain DN, good morning. Jamie Melquist, good morning. And I think that's everybody. If I missed you, if you're lurking, if you're in the future, good morning. We got a lot of stories to get into, so let's start with the Tangled story, just for the heck of it. Disney's Tangled live-action movie on hold indefinitely. Boy, I wonder what could have motivated this decision of putting off another live-action adaptation of an already popular animated film that you'd probably make more money off of by just re-releasing to theaters as a special event. I can't imagine. Let's find out. Disney has put the live-action version of the 2010 animated hit Tangled on hold, according to sources. The story, based on the Brothers Grimm fairy tale of Rapunzel, was in active development, with Michael Gracie, director of The Greatest Showman, slated to direct Thor: Love and Thunder scribe Jennifer Caton Robinson was on board to write the script. Boy, you guys remember how much of an impact the writing of Thor: Love and Thunder made on the world? And what a huge hit The Greatest Showman was? Boy, what a combination. I wonder what kind of gold they could have woven with that alchemy. The decision comes amid Disney's release of Snow White, which has grossed a tepid $69 million to date domestically and $145 million worldwide. It hasn't even cracked $100 million domestically. And that movie cost at least, in production, just production, $250 million. Probably more. And that's not even talking about marketing. So, yeah, this sucker is an absolute stinker. It's not clear whether there is a possibility of reviving the live-action version of Tangled at some point in the future. I'm guessing not. I think Disney needs to cease the live-action adaptations of their animated classics and maybe focus their efforts on original content, like original animated features, bring back the actual classic Disney animation. In fact, if I were Disney, I would put a whole bunch of focus on resurrecting hand-drawn animation, just as a simple piece of artwork, if nothing else. It would cost them less in the long run, I think, to bring back hand-drawn 2D animation than it would be to keep losing hundreds of millions of dollars on these ridiculous live-action adaptations. You know, there was kind of a sadness. There was I forget who it was. It was some kind of video or interview where someone was talking to a Disney executive or animator or something, and talking about the classic Snow White animated film, and posing the question, how much would it cost to make this same film today? And the person responded, we couldn't. We've forgotten how to do this, which is kind of a shame. So for its legacy and for just, artistic endeavors in general, I think Disney should put a lot of money into education and academies and resurrecting 2D animation. But that's just me. Disney will continue to mine its animated library with 2 upcoming titles, Lilo and Stitch, due May 23rd, and Moana, opening July 10th, 2026. Moana comes with the advantage of being fresh in the audience's mind, since the animated sequel, Moana 2, which was supposed to be a Disney Plus series, but was ramshackled into a movie, proved to be a blockbuster last November. Meanwhile, the appetite for Lilo and Stitch appears to be strong. The Lilo and Stitch spot with Stitch crashing the Super Bowl field racked up huge numbers, becoming Disney's most viewed spot digitally, while the March trailer release became the second most viewed Disney live-action trailer of all time in the first 24 hours of release. Well, yeah, Lilo and Stitch has the advantage of still having a property that is popular, and their trailer was not obnoxious. It was just fun. That might be the only pathway for any live-action adaptations to succeed in the future, if it's just fun and you just make it a fun movie for kids without making it a message. It's going to be a balancing act. In my opinion, I think Disney should focus on animation. The live action stuff, Tangled made nearly $600 million worldwide during its 2010-2011 release and was nominated for an Oscar for Original Song. With an 89% positive score on Rotten Tomatoes, it was a hit with both families and critics. Golly gee, re-release it to theaters. It's practically free money at that point. And then just have a toy and merchandising campaign going along with it. Disney has this gigantic library of gold that they don't need to keep remining over and over again with new projects that are more expensive than simply re-releasing their classics and having a merchandising campaign to go along with it. Because it's been what? 2010, so it's been 15 years. That means you've probably got a whole bunch of kids that grew up with that movie who are now ready to share it with their own kids. You might think about doing that. Why don't they do that more? That should just be the recurring thing. And then occasionally you have a new movie. I don't know. I'm not a Disney executive. I probably wouldn't last long because I make too much sense. That's just the way it works. What can you do? Kay Roberts. Ironically, by embracing the pursuit of high-tech production, the Disney activists revealed their hand to adults before manipulating their kids. Oh, man. Disney is such a... I should probably save some of this for Midnight's Edge in the morning tomorrow, because there'll be plenty to talk about with the box office and Snow White and everything else. And there are people there at Midnight's Edge that have far more educated minds on these things than I do. I'm still just a schlub observer of all this. I'm just such an outsider. Captain Deanne, I think the only people that like the live-action CGI garbage are parents with young kids that don't care about actual quality and just want their kids distracted for an hour and a half. Well, I think part of the problem, too, is that a lot of the adults today don't know what quality is because it is so deteriorated over the last 15, 20 years. Yeah, it's just like, what counts as quality anymore? People are retreating to things from 20, 30, 40 years ago in music and movies and video games, because everything that's put out these days is utter garbage. I mean, how many people right now are playing the reskinned, revamped version of Diablo 2? How much money did that make over Diablo 3? How many concurrent players do you think are doing Diablo 2 right now versus Diablo 3? Yeah, because when you have a solid hit, when you had people that knew what they were doing and making a good game, it's always going to be a good game. It's never not going to be a good game and people, harken back to. I don't know. It's one of those things. Moving on. Are you guys getting flashbacks to COVID-era toilet paper runs? Well, apparently we now have to have tariff runs. I don't know how real this is or people just like hyping themselves into insanity. It's probably the latter more than anything else. But apparently it's happening. Tariffs spark concern over possible Costco panic buying before prices rise. Yes, get your 17-gallon drum of artichoke hearts, everybody, before the price goes up 5 cents. Hurry now. Get your charcoal, get your ramen, get your Kirkland brand oregano. The time's running out. I'm sure Costco's hating it. This is from Seattle. Wide-reaching tariffs on all products imported into the United States are now in effect, raising concerns about potential consumer reactions, such as panic buying or a complete halt in purchasing. Maybe I'm just detached. None of that occurred to me when I heard about the tariffs and stuff. At this point, now, I know that everybody who isn't an expert is suddenly an expert on tariffs. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on tariffs. I have heard horror stories about the long-term outcomes of this tariff rise by Trump. I've heard utopian ideal outcomes. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Because similar to what he was doing with tariffs and everything else prior with Mexico and Canada, at first, I just see it as a leveraging tactic. If you go back, and it's not that long ago, a couple of years back, when Trump was asked about would he, come to the defense of NATO allies, And his comment was, as long as they've paid their dues. And I'm paraphrasing slightly, because there's at least a expressed requirement, if not a mandated one, for NATO allies to dedicate 2% of their GDP to defense. And many, many NATO allies were not doing that, or only doing a percentage of that. Well, as soon as he just sort of mused into the ether that, well, I mean, either you're putting up or you're not, suddenly all these countries that hadn't been doing so suddenly started, towing the line, which was good for NATO, good for the alliance, good for overall defense. And it was just Trump sort of saying, hey, we're not necessarily going to carry your water for you if you're not doing your part. And so with this tariff stuff, it's all just a bargaining chip. And I've already seen one instance where a country has sort of healed too. I think it was Vietnam, wasn't it? Somebody correct me. Was it Vietnam? Who just immediately said, okay, we'll drop our tariffs to 0. Like, okay. And then China, increases their tariffs, even though we're a bigger customer of Chinese goods than they are of our goods. So them increasing the price of their goods means that we and other companies will seek alternatives to get the products and things that we want, like maybe Vietnam. Again, I'm not an economist. Everybody calling gloom, doom, and otherwise on this, I'm not sure. Like I say, I can't claim one way or the other. I'm not an expert. But everything Trump has done so far and in the past when it comes to interacting internationally has been to leverage people into doing what he wants them to do with promises that things will go badly for them if they don't. And America has enough leverage to make that happen. So I guess the outcomes will be what they are. There's I talked about this before. Ezra Klein has his own podcast, which I only kind of discovered in the last couple of weeks. He did one that was very, very telling of the Democratic Party in the aftermath of the election on what did we do wrong. And their lack of self-reflection continues. Well, he just put out one about the outcomes of the tariffs. I haven't watched it yet. I'm considering doing like a watch party on the Discord server just so we can all see what some of the theories are on the tariffs from the left side of the aisle. Because I still want to know, okay, well, what do people think is actually going to happen? What does an actual economist say may or may not happen if these things persist? Anyway, all kind of a sidebar. I'll think about doing that maybe today or tomorrow for a watch party. And I'll give as much notice as I can if people want to join in on that on the Discord server. Anyway, moving on. An economist Como News spoke with on Friday said there is a possibility that panic buying may eventually happen again. Okay. However, customers at the Costco in Shoreline expressed little worry, at least for now. It almost seems like this Como News is trying to drum up panic when there isn't really any. You get this picture of all these people buying stuff at Costco, and it's like, that kind of looks like an average day at Costco. But anyway, shoppers continued their routines, with many more concerned about the consequences of panic buying than the increased prices. Oh, well, golly gee. Sorority girl arrested again only weeks after mugshot went viral. Well then, maybe she needs to get some help. Quote, if you were smart enough, you would already be prepared and have non-perishable foods anyway. One shopper told Como News. You mean one prepper? Non-perishable foods. Everything's going to go to rot, guys. Oh my God, tariffs. Everything's going to go to rot. Non-perishable foods. The Shoreline Costco store manager reported operations have remained normal, and the overall Costco company does not anticipate a major impact from the tariffs. Then what is this story about? They go to a Costco. Nobody's panicking. Everybody's more concerned about, they're more concerned about the prospect of a panic buy rather than the actual prices, but nobody's actually panicking. The company's not reporting anything weird. Who has this fear? Is it the actual consumers or is it the media trying to build up a narrative? While the situation remains stable at this location, economists warn that panic buying is still a possibility as costs rise across various products. Are these the same economists that gave a seal of approval to Biden's economic plan? Remember when you had Biden and Harris and every surrogate for the Biden administration coming out and saying, we've got 10, 12, 17 Nobel laureate economists saying this is the best economy ever. As inflation kept destroying everybody's lives. Yeah. Quote, these tariffs started off very targeted and they've become quite broad, economist Thomas Fellow told Como News. You're correct. If anybody watched Trump's speech, he said there was a baseline 10% tariff on everybody. Except now probably for Vietnam, who's decided to play ball. But we'll see what happens with that. Despite these warnings, customers in Shoreline maintain that it's not time to panic buy. Okay, so nobody's panic buying. Everybody's against panic buying. What are you talking about? When I saw this story, I thought it was about this run on Costco. I was fooled. Well, now I'm not fooled because I read the article. Quote, I don't think anyone needs to go and run and clear out the Costco. That's probably not healthy for our community, one shopper said. Well, I'm glad that shoppers in Shoreline, I'm glad they have such level heads about all this. Economists have identified groceries as the category most likely to see significant price hikes, with items like olive oil, rice, and coffee mixes expected to spike in cost. Well, fortunately, I don't drink coffee. I drink cocoa. Cocoa, which is being saved by AI, as we know. Tariffs spark concern. Concern with who? Economists. Economists of what? I don't know. This is the thing that's kind of annoying to me. I kind of want to be able to extend a certain level of benefit of the doubt to quote-unquote experts when they come out and say something. Right? I just have an English major. I'm not an economist. I'm not a political scientist. I don't have some PhDs and this, that, and the other. So if somebody comes onto a stage and says, I'm a, Harvard-trained economist. I've been doing this for 30 years, and this is what's going to happen. Obviously, you have to extend a little bit of grain of salt because sometimes forecasting is just forecasting. But after COVID, after, Bidenomics and on, I have more doubt than anything else to extend. Yeah, more doubt than benefit, I should say. So it's oh my gosh, we have to be aware of panic buying. Well, nobody's panicking. And the best example that news outlet could come up with was to go to a Costco where everybody's just operating normally and the business is saying, Frank Hubbard IV, good morning, and thank you, Frank Hubbard. Sounds like trying to plant the idea. Yeah. And I'm curious to see, after the years of COVID panic that we were subjected to, lockdowns and elsewise, whether or not the media can succeed. Not that I'm hoping that they do, but if this is their new fear-mongering avenue, and it seems to be, I'm curious to see if the American public will fall for it a second time without some actual evidence put in front of them. Rather than just some, doomsayer, unnamed economists say. What economists? How many? Is it just 2? Did you qualify for the plural? And that's it? Yeah. What's the reliability of these economists? This is why people need to think more critically and look at the evidence in front of them and not just the things people are saying. What are they actually doing? Oh, we're just buying our carrots. Yeah, maybe they'll go up a few cents or something, or maybe they'll find an alternative source because the tariffs will increase the likelihood of finding better deals somewhere. I guess we'll wait and see. Snortopubis Cuber, they identify as economists. Yes, it's true. I mean, I could identify as a DEI expert now. I really should. I really should just put into my byline, Scribelite DEI expert. Maybe I get some business that way. I should have done that years ago. If I did it as a joke and people took it seriously, I might have had an extra paycheck or something. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the reproductive rights boxing match. This is just, there are cameras rolling I don't know why, but between the Tesla cars and the keyings and everything else, I don't understand. In this day and age, there's a camera somewhere filming something most times. But when you're, like, being interviewed on camera for something and you decide to take this move, I'm not quite sure what you expected to happen. New York City woman who decked pro-life activist claims she was provoked into violence. Okay, now, I would love to play this video, but I don't know if it's copyrighted or not. So, a link to the article is in the description below. And I'm not, like I say, I'm not sure if I try to play this if it's going to cause a problem. I don't want to cause any problems for myself. But I'll read the article. Hopefully it'll give a description of what happened, and we can avoid any confusion. The woman who socked a pro-life reporter in the face during a filmed interview offered an apology Saturday, but claimed her, quote, antagonistic, unquote, victim goaded her into violence. Brianna Rivers of the Bronx, Benny Blanco from the Bronx, admitted she was wrong for slugging Savannah Craven Anteo, a reporter for pro-life advocacy group Live Action. Oh, you were wrong for slugging an unarmed woman holding a microphone who was just talking to you? Okay. Quote, to Savannah, I sincerely apologize, but I cannot sit around and allow you to continue pushing this one-sided narrative. I understand hands being put on someone is never the answer. Oh, do you? I have some video evidence to the contrary. I understand putting hands on someone is never the answer, but throwing rocks and hiding hands is worse, unquote, Rivers wrote in a Facebook post. What do you mean by that? Quote, she knows the truth and she needs to release the footage in its entirety. Savannah is a professional antagonist, not a reporter, and the truth will be told, unquote. And there's a still shot, for those of you listening at home, there's a still shot of the fist hitting the lady's face. Rivers shared a note accusing Craven Anteo of, quote, intentionally antagonizing her during their man-on-the-street interview in Harlem, in which Craven Anteo repeatedly cut the pro-choice Rivers off while she spoke. Now, admittedly, I do have some experience with being interrupted while speaking, as Ranting Monkey, Satsu 2 Cents, and any fans of Lords of the Night know. And all of you know just how much I love that. However, maybe it's only the benefit of being remote and not in front of the person doing so that I haven't gone to fisticuffs yet, but I would hope that in my personal self-control and stoicism that I wouldn't punch somebody in the face for interrupting me. I would just give them a nasty look, which is usually what I do when it happens on a live show and I just have a microphone to look at. I'll just give it a nasty look and hope that somehow through the mystic chords of rage, the person who interrupted me will stub their toe or something. Rivers also accused Craven Anteo of editing the footage to remove what she called, quote, relentless antagonization, unquote, and the moments leading up to the sucker punch. Okay, I mean, I've seen the video, and if there was an edit in there, I must have missed it. Because it seemed to be... Yeah, anyway. Quote, I will not allow my image to be defamed by this woman's actions. I think between the two of you, one of you took actions. And the action you should have taken is just to walk away. You weren't under any obligation to continue talking to this lady. If you didn't want to talk to her and she was antagonizing you, well, you fell for it, I guess. But that was your choice. Trying to avoid responsibility. I really hope this lady gets prosecuted. Anyone who knows me knows how respectful I am. Well, I've come to know a little bit about you. I don't even litter. There's no way you believe I'm punching people for disagreeing with my POV, wrote Rivers, who could not immediately but you did. You did. You punched a lady in the face over a disagreement of point of view. She was holding a microphone. She was standing on a street corner. She had a camera on her. She wasn't attacking you. You just have really, really fragile fifis. And are acting like a child and trying to avoid responsibility for your actions. Craven Anteo reported the incident to police and admitted to provoking Rivers, authorities said. Rivers had not been arrested as of Saturday afternoon. Well, okay, provoking in what way? Provoking a conversation? Provoking a reaction? Challenging someone's point of view or opinion? But like provoking her into violence? Somehow I doubt that was the intent. The two butted heads during a conversation on the street Thursday about Planned Parenthood and abortion that Craven Anteo, 23, was conducting as part of her work for Live Action. Okay. The interview gradually grew sour as Craven Anteo routinely interrupted Rivers, claimed women who have undergone abortions were killing babies, and even laughed at her interview subject, the video showed. Things took a turn when Craven Anteo asked whether foster kids should be killed because, quote, they're not wanted, and Rivers responded, why not? Okay. Quote, who's going to take care of them? I need to know the percentage of people who take children from foster care and abuse them and molest them and make them personal slaves. I need specifics before you come to talk to me about pro-life, the assailant said. What? The pair went back and forth for another minute before the video clipped. Okay. Craven Anteo then is heard repeating the foster care question she had posed to Rivers. Quote, I'm not the one who admitted they would be okay with killing babies in foster care and killing children that have been abused, unquote. That's not the point. What I'm saying is, unquote, Rivers said, before unleashing a combo of punches directly to Craven Anteo's face and quickly stalking off. All right, so she feinted continuing the conversation in order to catch her off guard with the sucker punches. Okay. The conservative influencer, I've never heard of this lady before, who posts various videos shaming and making fun of progressive women, I've seen a lot of that before, is now nursing a black eye, 2 stitches below her eyebrow, significant pain in her nasal area, and a heavy psychological burden, she told the Post. Quote, mentally, I'm kind of struggling. I am having a lot of stress, just flashbacks about what happened to me, Craven Anteo explained. Quote, every time I go on my phone and I open any social media, I see the video of myself being assaulted, and it's like I go back to the moment. It's terrifying. Okay, well, I hope at the very least that this lady is made to pay for the victim's medical bills. And unless there is some mitigating circumstance to this, if there is something, if there's something in that clip between action on the video that somehow supersedes criminal liability, this lady should be charged with assault. Long and the short. I'm not one to use fisticuffs. Well, you did. See, it's that kind of who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes kind of thing that puts a whole lot of that lady's credibility into doubt over her self-defense claims or was antagonized. Let's see. Can we talk about how cruel her name is? Which one? Savannah Rivers? Was that, or was Savannah the other one? I already closed the article. Whoops. My bad. Let's see. Puffer P smiles. She provoked me. Get better at handling your emotions, goof. Yeah. She made fun of me. Wah! I got my Fifi shirt, so I'm gonna punch him in the face. That's like second grade childish behavior that shouldn't be rewarded with a, oh, she made fun of me. She hurt my opinions. Well, I guess the question will be, Savannah Rivers sounds like a porn name. Could be. What was that? I was about to bring up something because I saw a name the other day that was absolutely ridiculous sounding, and now it's suddenly, don't you hate it when like you have a thought and it's right there, and then as soon as you decide to vocalize it, poof, it's gone. It just vanishes. I hate that. That bugs me. Makes me sound like an idiot. Sort of like this lady. What a segue. Who is Grecia Martinez Rosas, the undocumented queer immigration activist at Hands Off protest? Boy, oh boy, if you ever want to sort of define a self-enforced error, this might be it. Grecia Martinez Rosas, the executive director of United We Dream, ignited a controversy on immigration after boldly declaring her undocumented status at an anti-Trump rally in Washington, D.C. Well, that sounds like a completely willful confession to a crime, doesn't it? At the Hands Off 2025 protest, Rosas announced, quote, "I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed," unquote. Okay, well, you'll soon be unburdened of your residency in America, because I have a feeling that Tom Homan is looking forward to making an example out of you. Who is Gracia Martinez Rosas? Originally from Hidalgo, Mexico, Rosas moved to the United States with her family at a young age and grew up undocumented in Dallas, Texas. Well, depending on how young, she might qualify for protections under DACA. Might. Rosas' activism began in 2006 when she helped lead student walkouts in Texas, part of a nationwide mobilization against anti-immigrant legislation. You mean anti-illegal immigrant. I'll never get over these guys conflating these two ideas together. Immigrant, simply saying immigrant says nothing. Are they here legally or illegally? Just saying immigrant and making it sound like everybody's a victim. No. Since then, she has played a pivotal role in registering young Latinos to vote, founding youth-led organizations, and co-founding the Council for Minority Student Affairs at Texas A&M University, the first undocumented youth-led group at the university's century-long history. Great. I'm glad you guys have known this for the better part of 20 years. Today, she leads United We Dream, the largest immigrant youth-led... Immigrant youth-led? You mean illegal immigrant? Or do you mean legal immigrant? The distinction does matter. The largest immigrant youth-led network in the country with over 1 million members. The organization focuses on the dignity and fair treatment of immigrant youth and their families, particularly those who are undocumented. You mean illegal. Because if you're a legal immigrant to the United States, then you've got nothing to worry about in the long run. If you violate the terms of your status here in some way, shape, or form, and you're not a naturalized citizen already, well, okay. She played a crucial role in the fight for the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals DACA program and helped defend it before the U.S. Supreme Court in 2020. Okay, so she's not an unknown quantity, and her status isn't a mystery. Her statement has since gone viral, garnering a lot of attention, drawing fierce criticism from users. While many social media users have demanded her deportation, others have applauded her courage and used the moment to spotlight the ongoing challenges faced by undocumented individuals in the United States. You mean illegal immigrants, people who are here illegally, people who are perpetually committing a crime, a federal crime. Damn. Oh, sorry, this is a quote. Damn. So can we just publicly state we are breaking laws and get away with it? One user question. Well, yes. I don't know if this user have noticed, but between immigrants, undocumented immigrants over the last several years, DEI and elsewise, yes, there are very few consequences for breaking laws that people have some kind of weird backwards notion of morality and legality about. I mean, we have sanctuary cities and sanctuary states. Of course, if you break the law, no, as long as you break the law in a way that is morally acceptable, it's okay. Quote, her online info says she's a DACA recipient and holds a work visa. If that's true, she can still be deported, but I think she's trying to become famous by baiting ICE and becoming a martyr with a GoFundMe. That could also be true. I think one of the major requirements to qualify for DACA is you don't have a criminal record. And if she doesn't have a criminal record, there might not be a mechanism to deny her DACA protection. But she sure is giving people an excuse to look into her. And that was the end of the article. Yeah, well, I don't care about how unafraid you are. I couldn't care less about how queer you are or unashamed you are. My only question is, are you here legally and are you tempting fate? I mean, if you want to set a precedent to have ICE look into people who are here undocumented but DACA covered more closely, I'm fine with that too. Are you following the rules? But also, let's just talk about DACA for a second. Somebody put this on the floor for an up or down vote. Put the DREAM Act on the floor, really? I mean, of all the executive order things that I'm not a fan of, and I'm not a fan of all of them in a way because I don't like presidential fiats on things, but either way, the one that stands out the most is DACA. Effectively making new law from the White House and having it sit there. And Trump, to his credit, in his first term, he tried to put a deadline on overturning DACA because it's an executive order that conceivably should be able to be overturned by another president. And when he tried to put a deadline on that, the court stopped him. Put it in front of Congress. This should not be a presidential fiat. This should be something that Congress actually votes on. If you agree with DACA, then voting for the DREAM Act should be a simple decision because the DREAM Act is effectively a clone of DACA and vice versa. But now, no, it's still just a tenuous precedent. And whatever you think of DACA, DREAM Act, or elsewise, I don't like the idea of quasi-laws floating there, putting people's certainty about their rights or their safety on the line all the time. I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea of like a Damocles sword hanging over people's heads about what they can or cannot do, what's legal, what's not legal, could it be taken away tomorrow, and so on. You know, it's sort of like Roe v. Wade. It was never a law. It was just an opinion that kind of turned quasi into a law. DACA is not a law. It's an executive order that's just kind of sat there. And the decision on actually saying something about it keeps being kicked down the road or ignored when it shouldn't. Make up your mind. There's another phrase I could use, which would be a little bit too much for a family show, but it has something to do with a pot and whether to get off of it. But anyway. Wait, is the new PFP scribe? PFP. Okay, is that a PlayStation reference? PSP. Well, anyway, no, that's my new profile picture. Yeah, that's my little looking off into a sunny future grok generated scribe. I think it turned out pretty good, all things considered. I just thought it was appropriate for a Sunday morning, that's all. I mean, I could get out my Studio Ghibli one if you like that one, too. Also, Jill Powers, the River Daughter, good morning. Breeze Feats, good morning. Juliet, good morning to you. Anybody else did I miss? I probably missed several people. I've been focused so much on this. Ebony Williams, if she had been in the U.S. illegally for this long, why didn't she become an actual citizen to avoid all this? You know, I don't know what the process is for a DACA recipient to then pursue citizenship. I assume they have some leeway. I'm not a legal expert on it. But at the same time, I also have to wonder if she doesn't revel in the idea of continuing to be undocumented as a badge of honor. Because her statement the other day seems to showcase that. She likes being a rebel. I'm in the country undocumented, and I'm proud of it. Yeah. Data Wasteland, good morning. But, Mr. E. Triumvirate. What, there's 3 of you now? Is it headmates? What's going on? Picture for proof. Is that what that means? Okay. Yeah, and just to assure everybody, I don't look like that. I wish I looked like that. Holy cow, that is one dapper, debonair-looking man. But no, unfortunately not. Someday I'll start turning on my camera. Not quite sure when. I keep getting close to it. I have a camera now. I actually did buy one. And I keep threatening myself with maybe just going live eventually. But part of me doesn't feel like the time is right. So it's on the horizon. It might be a distant horizon. Might be a lost horizon. You ever see a Lost Horizon? Great movie. Too bad they lost so many actual parts of the film. They have to use stills in the making of it. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to bring this up tomorrow at Midnight's Edge, but just on the chance that there's not time for it or doesn't fit into their schedule, I thought I'd bring it up here. Trump tariffs timing couldn't be worse for Hollywood. Okay, now I haven't read this article yet, so we'll find out, but my first reaction was Trump's tariffs timing couldn't be as good as ever for Hollywood than it is because it gives Hollywood one more scapegoat for their failures. That was my thought, right? It's like, oh, if they're having production problems with Hocus Pocus 3 in the next 6 months or something, oh, gosh, why did the movie take so long to get out? Oh, why did the movie fail at the oh, if only Trump's tariffs hadn't been there, right? I just have a feeling that Trump tariffs are going to be up there with toxic fans in the near future as one more excuse for Hollywood product. I could be wrong, but if past is prologue, I got a feeling. Anyway, studios will begin their upfront talks with media buyers in the coming weeks, with billions of dollars at stake, right as major advertising buyers are re-examining their budgets amid global economic uncertainty. President Trump on Wednesday afternoon declared what he called Liberation Day, announcing wide-ranging tariffs that he argued will rebalance the global trade order and, in his words, make America rich. Again, he said, make America rich again, but you don't actually quote him for some reason, which is odd. Many entertainment executives were surely watching what happened closely, and they aren't feeling rich. Yeah, you know why that is? Because they keep making absolute garbage product and losing hundreds of millions. You know, you guys were losing money long before Trump became president again. I don't know if you noticed this. Snow White has been in production since, 2022? Yeah. The media business might not be built on imported physical goods. But many of its largest advertisers are, and the ad business is already beginning to feel the pain. Multiple sources on the buy side and the sell side tell The Hollywood Reporter. You know, I have a feeling that businesses are still going to advertise. I know it's a crazy idea, but I don't recall, and somebody's going to have to maybe correct me on this, during the 2008 housing crisis and the economic calamity that was, I still recall seeing advertisements on things, product placement in movies and TV shows. During COVID, boy, oh boy, I still saw advertisements for stuff. Yeah. Somehow, I don't think advertisers are going to stop advertising. But just like Hollywood, again, this is my conspiracy theory, that just like Hollywood may use the tariffs as an excuse to lay their own failings on, advertisers may use tariffs as an excuse to renegotiate. Some major advertising categories, including automotive, consumer packaged goods, and food and drinks, are beginning to re-examine their spending as they crunch the numbers to figure out how the looming tariffs and the possibility of an all-out trade war. People really, really like to talk about trade war. We haven't even entered trade war territory yet. Not really. We're still in the negotiation phase, which is all that Trump is really doing, I think, ultimately. Trade war will impact their businesses. At the same time, a potential decline in tourism from Canada and Europe has the potential to weaken the travel sector, where airlines and hotels compete for consumer dollars. Decline in tourism from Canada and Europe. So Canadians and Europeans will just decide not to come to America? I mean, I guess they could. Somehow, I think we'll survive. I don't know. I just have this feeling. I got a feeling. Quote, "It really is a perfect storm of bad news," one high-level media source says. Well, as long as one high-level media source unnamed says, noting that while current scatter pricing is okay for now, the outlook isn't looking as hot for the remainder of the year. Oh my gosh. The tariffs affect every country, with everything from grocery staples and cars to electronics and raw materials set to be impacted when the tariffs go into effect. You mean like the tariffs that had been in effect from every one of the other countries beforehand anyway? Okay. Stock market futures plummeted after Trump announced the moves. Oh my gosh. And as we know, stock market futures, in a limited time frame, tell the entire story of what our future is going to be. As we know. In just the past couple of weeks, the influential advertising analyst Brian Weiser or Visor, and the media intelligence firm Magna, I've never heard of any of these people, have each lowered their advertising growth forecast for 2025. Weiser lowered his 2025 outlook to 3.6%, down from 4.5% in December. Magna lowered its outlook to 4.3%, down from 4.9% previously. Well, it's like they have completely at odds opinions of what's going to happen. Huh. Yes, they expect the ad business will grow, but it will mark a sharp downward swing from 2024, and essentially all that growth will be coming from tech giants like Google and Meta. So, it's not... Okay. How does that compare to the last, 7 to 10 years? I mean, you're just going back 1 year? Well, what are trends like? Why does this always do this? It always zips all the way back up. What is the overall long-term trend? I mean, how did things operate in the 2008 crisis? How did things operate during COVID? How did things operate, during the Biden administration versus the first Trump administration? Okay, it's like a sample size of 1 year. That tells me nothing. It means nothing. Quote, in December, we wrote about 2025's uncertainty in the wake of a U.S. federal election that produced what appeared to us as a negative outcome for the advertising industry, given the incoming administration's articulated policy preferences, unquote. Visor wrote, quote, by now, nearly 3 months into the year, nearly 3 months, so not even the first quarter having been done by the time you did this, what we can see is a certainty of additional negative factors, including volatility around trade policies and a more extreme threat to supply chains and corporate decision-making than we previously expected, unquote. And so you haven't actually seen the outcomes of this yet, but you already know it's going to be terrible. I heard a lot about all the terrible things that were going to happen before Trump took office the first time. Yeah, I don't know. World War III didn't happen. Deportation squads weren't kicking down doors. People weren't put into camps. Guantanamo was not filled up with Trump's political enemies. I don't know. Quote, the current, hopefully temporary, dip in confidence has already dampened the dynamics of the ad market, prompting U.S. to revise our growth forecast for 2025. Did you mean prompting U.S. or prompting us? Was that like an AI writing your story for you, a mistake or something? Prompting U.S. to revise our... Okay. Wrote Vincent Latang, Magna's Executive VP Global Marketing Intelligence. Quote, while total ad spend is still expected to grow in the mid-single digits, digital media ad sales will continue to experience high single-digit growth. In contrast, most traditional media channels may face stagnating ad revenues this year. Well, that's probably because most traditional media channels are losing popularity. Because of stuff like, watch out for the panic buying. Anyway. Even tech giants, however, are not immune. Oh my God, really? Moffett-Nathanson's Michael Nathanson, I've never heard of any of these people or these organizations, wrote in a March 31st note on YouTube that even the king of ad-supported streaming video will likely see its growth moderate. Quote, while the platform's expanding reach amongst older demographics enhances its monetization potential, we think the growing supply of impressions across the broader CTV ecosystem could exert downward pressure on ad pricing, offsetting those gains, unquote. Nathanson wrote. Speaking of ad-based stuff on YouTube, guys, except for some rare instances, I don't monetize most of my stuff. So if you'd like to support the channel, share my stuff out. That's it. Quote, additionally, a softer macroeconomic environment may put pressure on ad budgets industry-wide. As a result, we now project YouTube's advertising revenue to grow on the low double digits over the next few years. Well, great. Maybe I should start monetizing these things more often. I monetized the little rant review I did on adolescence, and I was curious as to what ads were being put on it, and I clicked on it, and it was like, what was it? I think I got like a cereal commercial and I think toothpaste or something. I was like, wow, okay. I guess I'm into consumer, goods now, technically. I do a series review of a show about teenage murdering another teenager, and I get like breakfast cereal ads. It's like, okay, maybe it's because I mentioned family so much in the course of that. I don't know. For many traditional media companies like the entertainment giants, however, ad anxiety seems to be all the rage right now. Yeah, almost like it's a trend, and low double-digit growth would be a dream come true. Despite the gloom and doom from executives and advertising analysts, J.P. Morgan's David Karnovsky noted in a March 28th report that there has been, quote, no softness observed so far in the ad market. But, I'm seeing visions and reflections on the whole panic buying from the tariffs at Costco thing here. A lot of people talking about what might happen, but looking at what's going on right now, at least, there's nothing happening yet. That's not to say something can't happen, but people preparing for the worst instead of hoping for the best. Still, if there is a silver lining for traditional media companies, it is that sports programming, which they are all leaning into heavily, should feel a degree of protection from any chaos given continued strong demand. Both buy and sell side sources say that demand for live sports continues unabated. Well then, okay. And, quote, sports remains robust while streaming video is still managing through the impact of increased supply in the market, unquote, wrote Bank of America analyst Jessica Reif-Ehrlich in a March 28th report, adding that in streaming, the market is still grappling with Amazon's decision last year to turn on ads for Prime Video, causing inventory to explode. Quote, for advertising, executives highlighted continued robust demand for sports on linear and streaming, while news also appears to be strong where ratings are higher, with preemptions the only constraint on growth, Karnovsky wrote. I don't know what any of this means, and I'm getting tired of reading it. Maybe if I was an economist, maybe if I was some kind of budgetary analyst or something, all that gobbledygook would mean something to me. All I'm making out of it is, though, that people are either fearing of or halfway hoping for some kind of chaos, while other people are kind of like, well, things are okay right now, guys. We still see people buying things. We still see advertisers advertising. So is this just another example of look out for that run on Costco? But I stick by my theory that sooner or later there is going to be a movie or a TV show or something that comes out that does badly, and somewhere in there, as far as either production costs or outcomes of audience participation or something, somewhere in there, tariffs will be blamed in whole or in part for what the failure was. That's what I assume is going to happen. Faustonia, holy cats! Thank you so much, Faustonia. It's very generous of you. Looks like the opposition finally got their shit together, both media and the protests. My town saw about 1,000 hands-off protesters. Local news shamelessly interviewed a 10-year-old about tariffs and cutting government as if he knows. Yeah, I keep seeing all these reports of these millions of people across the world protesting. Hands off our what? Hands off our excess spending something. I don't know. It's just like this Costco thing. I keep being told there's so much to be all energized and angry about and scared for and everything. Maybe I'm just burnt out. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm really curious to see in this latest scare machine, after years and years and years of everyone's collective tolerances being raised up by COVID panic, are we that fragile still to not just sort of wait and see how things go, mind our business, continue with our routines, and maybe we'll adapt rather than panic? I really hope that's the case. But I guess we'll see. We got quote-unquote millions of people around the world. Maybe that's true. I don't know. I haven't done a head count or anything. Protesting. Oh, keep your hands off. Hands off what? I mean, how many times have I heard in the last week, oh my gosh, Elon Musk is going to cut Social Security? Well, Elon Musk can't, and Elon Musk specifically said he wasn't going to do anything about cutting Social Security. Although he did find a whole bunch of people who were on Social Security that shouldn't have been. A couple million, which is more worrying than I think a lot of the mainstream media is making it out to be. So, anyway, we'll see what happens. Your internet's favorite lunatic, good morning. San, good morning. I blame Tariffs for me not being able to fall asleep. Yes. Yeah, just join the bandwagon, guys. Anything that goes wrong in your life, tariffs. Right? Scanner Daphne, hands off our graft. Exactly. Yeah, keep your hands off of our abusive or crazy spending. Keep your hands off of our corrupt politicians who somehow are multimillionaires with jobs that shouldn't equate to that. JPS, hands off our George Soros money. Yeah. I'm wondering, with all those protesters and all their very manicured signs and everything, who's funding that? Where's that coming from? Just wondering. K. Roberts looks out the window. Nope, no city to burn. That's an urbanite problem. Yeah. Oh, man. All right, well, let's get into some of the more yucky news. Carmelo Anthony's lawyer says murder of teen football star Austin Metcalf could have been self-defense, wants $1 million bond lowered. Okay, so I am aware of this story only on the most cursory surface level. And just on the face of it, it seems awfully nuts. I mean, well, any murder is nuts, but in this one in particular. But let's see. The attorney for Carmelo Anthony, the 17-year-old accused of murdering football star Austin Metcalf at a Texas track meet, insists he doesn't have any reason to think the killing wasn't in self-defense and will request the teen's bond be lowered from $1 million. Okay. Now, I hope this article clarifies for me, and maybe something that Jack can as well. As far as I recall reading, whatever the circumstances that led up to the stabbing, and those are important, but still, the suspect ran away from everything, tried to hide, and also got rid of the murder weapon. So if it was self-defense, why go through all these motions to try to cover up your involvement with the crime? Dunno. Anthony has been holed up in the Collin County Jail on the 7-digit bond since he was charged with fatally stabbing Metcalf, also 17, and leaving him to die in his twin brother's arms during the athletic event in Frisco Wednesday morning. After briefly meeting with the teenager for the first time on Friday afternoon, Anthony's attorney, Derek Walpole, told NBC Dallas-Fort Worth that at this point in time he believes his client acted in self-defense when he thrust a knife into Metcalf's heart, which is what Anthony had allegedly told police during his arrest. Okay, and still, what was the inciting act? Quote, I know that my client said it was self-defense. I don't have any reason to disbelieve that, but I need to develop facts, talk to people, and figure out what's going on before I make any statements about what I think happened, Walpole told the outlet outside of the prison. Quote, I don't have any reason to think it wasn't self-defense at this time, unquote. Well, you're his defense attorney. You've only briefly met with him. You're still looking into it, so I can't blame you for hedging your bets. Walpole also confirmed he had requested a hearing next week to lower Anthony's bond, which could raise the chances of his pretrial release. The stabbing was sparked when Metcalf, a Memorial High School junior, asked Anthony, a Centennial High School student, to move from underneath Memorial's pop-up tent during a rain delay, and Anthony refused, according to an arrest report. Anthony immediately unzipped a bag, reached inside, and told Metcalf, quote, touch me and see what happens, unquote, a witness told police. Moments later, Metcalf, quote, grabbed Anthony to tell him to move, and Anthony pulled out a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest, police said. Metcalf's twin brother, Hunter, rushed to Austin's aid but couldn't save him. Quote, I put my hand on his chest, tried to make the bleeding stop, and I grabbed his head and looked in his eyes. I just saw his soul leave. And it took my soul too, unquote, Hunter told Fox News in an emotional interview the following day. Anthony ran away, but was quickly arrested. Quote, I'm not alleged I did it. I'm not alleged I did it, unquote. 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony confessed to police as he was being taken into custody, according to the arrest report. Okay, well, then it's done. Quote, I was protecting myself, Anthony allegedly told cops. He put his hands on me, unquote. Right. Anthony's father told the Post this week that his son was provoked. Sure. Quote, he was not the aggressor. He was not the one who started it, Andrew Anthony said. I'm getting flashbacks to the abortion punch-in-face lady. Quote, everyone has already made their assumptions about my son, but he's not what they're making him out to be, Andrew Anthony said, adding that his son is an A student who works 2 jobs and carries around a knife and uses that as his first reaction to... Okay. Anthony's stepmother, Kayla Hayes, told the Post Saturday that the family had hired a PR team, but declined to comment for... Jesus. A PR team. You know, whatever money you have for a PR team, I'd be investing in a lawyer for this kid. I mean, whichever way it goes, he needs really good legal representation. A PR team. Anthony's attorney could not be reached for comments. A PR team. That is so bizarre to me. Okay. Anyway, sorry. That one took me off. Like, really? A public relations firm. Okay. Well, anyway, here's to hoping that they end up with some more evidence of the whole thing, either video or more testimonials or elsewise, to kind of clear this up. Because, true, it's just a he said story at present as to how either violent or not the initial engagement was and so on. But he was carrying around a knife, just kind of pulled out and stabbed a guy in the heart for what? Over what? Yeah. So anyway, time will tell. I'm sure there'll be plenty of videos and documentaries on it in the near future. Blah, 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 A student that stabbed someone. Yeah. What an upstanding individual carrying around a combat knife to shove into somebody's chest at the first sign of trouble. Couldn't have just walked away. Again, my question is both with the lady who punched the reporter and this. Was there anything preventing anyone from walking away from this? Was he trapped? Was he disallowed from being able to leave the scene? Just crazy. Jill Powers, he's too much of a coward to have started a fist fight. BLM should be arrested as a terrorist organization. Well, they definitely should be defunded, and people shouldn't be giving them money anymore. They've proven themselves to be nothing but a scam operation, ultimately. And just like with so many other things, I'll ask the question again. Since Black Lives Matter has been in operation, how has it improved race relations in this country? Right? How? Or is it just continually fed off division and scandal? A PR firm. Just gotta be kidding me. All right, well, let's go to a story of balancing act. Trans track athlete wins varsity girls competition after previously placing last against JV boys. If you can believe it. I know, it's a crazy idea. A transgender athlete, you mean a male athlete, took home first place in a varsity high jump competition at an Oregon high school meet Wednesday, roughly 2 years after finishing last while competing against junior varsity boys, according to a report. Leah Rose, who reportedly used to compete as Zachary, won the high jump at the Portland Interscholastic League varsity relays with a height of 4 feet 8 inches, beating the second place finisher by 2 inches. According to athletic.net, while competing against JV boys May 3rd, 2023, Zachary Rose finished 11th out of 11 competitors with a jump of 4 feet 6 inches. No, he got 2 inches on it. The winning height in that meet was another foot higher. According to online records, Zachary Rose competed in the boys category in 2023. The following year, Leah Rose also competed in the same category, but this year, Leah Rose was listed as competing in the girls category. In 2024, Leah mostly competed against JV boys. Also competed against JV boys, with a top finish of second place and a personal record of 5 feet even. Oh, so you improved a bit. Okay. Zachary competed as a sophomore in track with a top finish of second in a JV 3,000 meter race, but there were only 2 competitors. Zachary lost by over a minute. Leah's 4 foot 8 inch mark from Wednesday is listed as a, quote, personal record, unquote. It is, but what about your 5 feet even from the year previous? Okay. A spokesperson from Portland Public Schools was unable to confirm or deny that Leah and Zachary are the same person, citing the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, quote, to protect student privacy, unquote. Well, how about protecting fairness in athletics? Anyway, Leah's victory comes roughly 2 weeks after Ada Gallagher, a trans track athlete in the Portland area, blew out the competition. Gallagher, a state champion last year, finished at 57.62 in the 400 meters with Franklin High School's Kinley Sopanathong. I'm probably mispronouncing that, I apologize. Coming in second at 1 minute 5 seconds 72. Gallagher's teammate Quinnen Schaefer was behind Sopanathong at 1 minute 7:13. In the 200 meter race, Gallagher finished in first place at 25:76, followed by teammate Addison Skiles at 27:31. Both times for Gallagher were season bests. Golly. Well, there you go. If you can believe it, in athletic competitions, 9 times out of 10, boys will defeat girls. Even low-ranking boys against other boys will do really good against girls. Oh, sorry. I mean, transgender athletes. Why do we keep doing this? How long can this go on? I guess as long as necessary. We'll see. We'll see. Things supposedly are changing. Time will tell. Now I'm going to go over to the Discord real quick and see what we got here. It just did something like that. What is this? Angelverse sends us something. All right, I'm all for stories about notorious drug lords. How about you? I love New York in June. How about you? No? Okay. I love a Gershwin tune. How about you? Well, how about a story about a drug lord? Fugitive wanted over notorious drug lord's deadly prison escape is caught on tropical island in Thailand. Ooh, this sounds like a movie plot or something. Thai police have arrested a French fugitive on the tropical holiday island of Phuket. I'm gonna remember this is a family show. Phuket, over a deadly prison breakout that freed a notorious drug lord nicknamed The Fly. Man, if this doesn't have movie adaptation all over it, I don't know what does. A French fugitive on a tropical holiday island that freed a notorious drug lord nicknamed The Fly. Why was he called The Fly? Please tell me you're going to tell us why he's called The Fly. Adonis Carrera, 24. Boy, that's practically a baby, is the latest of 24 suspects to be detained in a sprawling international manhunt after the shocking escape of suspected gangland kingpin Mohamed Amra from a prison van in northern France in May of 2024. Carrera, I'm not quite sure, is considered by investigators to be a quote-unquote close friend of Amra, who was arrested in Romania last month after 9 months on the run as France's, quote, public enemy number 1. Correa was arrested on Wednesday in the southern island of Phuket, a hugely popular beach destination for millions of tourists, French sources and Thai police said on Thursday. Quote, Thai immigration police have arrested a French national linked to the transnational criminal organization involved in a violent prison break that resulted in the deaths of prison officers, unquote. Thai police said in a statement. The shocking, violent nature of Amra's escape last year stunned France and made headlines around the world. I'll admit, if I heard about it, I've long since forgotten about it. Masked gunmen armed with military-grade automatic weapons attacked a prison van, transporting him at a motorway toll plaza, killing 2 guards and wounding 3 others. Interpol has issued a red notice at the request of France for the arrest of Amra. Amra, who is suspected of pursuing his drug-related activities and even ordering murders from his prison cell, went on the run and was eventually tracked down in Bucharest and sent back to France. Good gravy, this guy really is a supervillain. Prosecutors at the time said Amra, who had changed his appearance and dyed his hair, had been identified through facial recognition tools and his fingerprints. And that's a photo of him for those of you watching, Mohammed Amra. He looks like what was that guy, James, I forget his name, the guy who shot up the theater at the Batman showing. It's that color hair, whatever that guy's name was. At least 24 suspects detained. Korea is the latest of 24 suspects detained as part of the French probe into the breakout. He entered Thailand on a tourist visa February 8th through Phuket International Airport before an arrest warrant and Interpol red notice were issued against him, according to Thai police. Thai authorities said they tracked Korea to the Kamala and Patong areas of Phuket and arrested him on Wednesday. His lawyer in France, Joseph Hazan, told AFP on Thursday that his client had turned himself in. Well, which did he turn himself in or was he tracked down? Quote, he presented himself to Thai authorities, with whom we have been in contact for several days, Hazan said. Yeah, he probably presented himself after they knocked on his door and said, you're under arrest. Adding that his client has not yet made a statement and would, quote, explain himself to the French judges, unquote. The officials have canceled Korea's visa, and he is now being held in Bangkok while his deportation to France is arranged. Thailand and France do not have an extradition treaty, but sources told AFP they expect Korea to be sent back sometime next week. All right, here we go. The Fly. Amra has a long history of convictions for violent crimes that started when he was only 15, according to judicial sources. Quote, he is very well known to the judiciary, unquote, Paris Chief Prosecutor Laurie Bacau said previously. Or Bacau? Amra has close links to organized crime, said another source close to the case who asked not to be identified, and is suspected of ordering killings linked to the drug trade. Another source who asked not to be named said Amra runs his own drug trafficking network. I mean, I get why you'd want to be anonymous. At the same time, all of this seems pretty boilerplate, but okay. However, none of his 13 prior convictions for crimes ranging from armed robbery to extortion were directly related to the narcotics business. He sounds a little bit like a John Gotti, a little Teflon Don over here. He was jailed in January 2022 in Evro Prison in the northwestern Normandy region to serve several sentences, including for criminal conspiracy, extortion, robbery, armed violence, and participation in an illegal motor rodeo. An illegal motor rodeo. And none of that had any connection to drugs. Okay. At the time of his escape, he was also facing 2 fresh charges, one for attempted murder and another for participation in a gangland killing in the southern city of Marseille on the French Riviera, a hub for drug trafficking and gang violence. Boy, oh boy. How old is this guy? I don't think, did they say? I don't know if they said. He started his criminal enterprise when he was 15, but good gravy. Well, if the world needed a supervillain, I guess we have one. Let's see. Bad Lama Urukeu? I want to try to get this right. Bad Lama Urukeu. Did I get that right? That last part especially. Let me know. Let me guess. Selling drugs to and grooming French kids. Probably. At 15? Yeah. Getting his customer base built up. Let's see. Haha, I've never even heard of these crimes before. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, this, like his escape especially, it sounds like something straight out of a movie. And just because I have it fresh in my mind, I'm thinking of in Daredevil Season 1 when the Kingpin is sprung from the armored car that's transporting him. Like, something like that literally happened. A bunch of guys pulled up with guns, shot up a bunch of cops and everything, and freed him from his prison ban. That's nuts. Let's see. Advocatus Diaboli, I guess, speaking from experience, French heroin sucks. Too much what? I thought it was because, like, Popeye Doyle was coming after you or something. You know, I mean, let me know. Whichever you prefer better. Walter Tomaszewski, if Thailand and France do not have an extradition treaty, how can Thailand send him back to France? I'm guessing there was some kind of negotiation on either side. I mean, just because they don't have an extradition treaty doesn't mean they can't agree to something on the side in an individual case. So, they can come to an accord. Let's see. Mirepoix? I don't know what mirepoix is. I'm not a man of international mystery here. If it's a little French cooking humor. Okay, well, that explains it. I don't cook. I just put things into the oven and warm them up. Because I'm a bachelor, and I'm a slob. And I'm lazy. I'm not a slob. I mean, I bathe. Occasionally. Anyway, everybody, that's the show for now. Now, those are the stories. And like I said, I'm contemplating doing a little watch party of the Ezra Klein show regarding tariffs, just to find out what the doomsayers might say, or predictions otherwise. That will take place, if it does and when it does, over on the Discord server. Would you like to join the Discord server? A link to the Discord server is in the chat right now. Click on that link. You'll find yourself on the landing channel called Say Hello. And in addition to saying hello, you just have to say the secret word. The secret word will tell me that you are not a bot, have watched the stream, and have thus earned the right, the privilege, the entitlement to join the Discord server. And today's secret word is mirepoix. And you can spell that out phonetically if you like. I'll understand. But yes, mirepoix is today's secret word. Outside of that, you can find me here Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for TED Excellence, where I take a look at off-brand TED Talks, sometimes actual TED Talks, for education, enlightenment, and if nothing else, dissections of persuasive arguments. I should also be on the panel for Midnight's Edge in the morning, tomorrow morning, Monday morning at 9:05 a.m. Pacific time, noon 05 p.m. Eastern time. We'll talk about box office and Snow White and Tangled and Minecraft and a whole bunch of other stuff, I'm sure. And if I can, somewhere in there, I'll try to bring up the whole Hollywood and tariffs thing just to see if I can sound smart for 5 minutes amongst a group of far more informed and smart people about entertainment than I am. And I also plan on, boy, I'm stacking my schedule here. Tomorrow morning, well, not morning, it's going to be 12:30 p.m. Pacific time, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, another episode of DEI Death Watch, where we take a look at the downfall and the doubling down of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm going to gather up some stories for that tomorrow, and I will put a link to that up probably tomorrow morning. I am a busy guy. I keep myself busy with all this stuff. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Leave a like on the way out if you would. I'd appreciate that. Everyone, thank you for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things, even though everyone here is so well behaved. You have very, very little to do. Everybody who donated either to myself or to the Give, Send, Go pinned at the top of the chat box, thank you guys so much for your generosity. Very much appreciate it. I hope you all have a good rest of your Sunday and weekend. I hope you have a good week ahead of you. I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.